with my new favorite series, What Did I Even Just Read? First story, I found a picture of my mom in an elderly person's home. This story came January 12th, 2016. I work at a large facility where we take care of seniors that can no longer take care of themselves. It's not exactly a nursing home, as some of our residents have health issues or cognitive problems. Regardless of that, I love my job and work with people every day. I was recently reassigned to a new area with residents I had never worked with before. In particular was a man that I had never met before, but he seemed like a really funny guy. Both of his legs were amputated and he has no real family left to take care of him. While putting him to bed, I saw he had a small pinboard filled with pictures of what I assume is left of his family. Many of them are elders like him, except for one picture that contains my mother. I had to double take at first, as I didn't believe it at first. The picture is the resident and my mother, very close, holding hands. It's definitely my mother, although a little younger. She looks to be in her 30s, whereas the resident looks a little younger, but not by much. Why is this such a big deal? I moved states over 7 months ago, and I currently live in a northern state. My whole family is on the East Coast, including my mother. As far as I knew, no one in my family had stepped foot in this state ever before. Furthermore, I asked the resident if he had ever left this state and traveled. According to him, he has been here all of his life, as he never had enough money to leave. He has no cognitive issues, and I believe him wholeheartedly. The next part may upset some people, but I had to do this. I did not want to randomly ask the resident about the picture, so when he finally fell asleep, I turned the picture over real quick, and sure enough, the picture had my mom's name and the resident's name along with the year. This meant my mother was with this gentleman when I was 8 years old. At the time, she was married to my father and had been for some time. They are celebrating a long marriage soon, too. What should I do? The picture is evidence of some sort of affair. My mother traveled a lot during work before she retired. Do I tell my father? Do I ask the resident? They really look cozy in this picture. Me trying to think of what the actual hell I would do. I mean, you're only gonna get the answer if you ask someone about it. You're not gonna be able to come up with an answer on your own. Could he be your dad if she had a very long affair? Okay, let's just keep reading, okay? The update came 4 days later. We're now at January 16th. So many of you agreed that I should probably bring up the picture nonchalantly. I decided to do that the next time I was able to take care of John, name change to protect some privacy. Last night was the night that I was assigned to take care of him, and I braced myself for the reveal. As I was putting John to bed, I looked at the pinboard and remarked what a great looking amount of people were on it. John smiled as well and asked for me to bring him the board itself so that he could go over the people in it. John has been declining in health lately, but his mind is still quite fresh, so it's nice to see him remember his past life. As he went through each and every photograph, I smiled on the outside, but I was absolutely dreading it on the inside. I knew he was slowly getting to the bottom where my mom was, staring back at me with her signature smile. Once he got to her, he paused, sighed, and looked up at me. Ever lose someone you thought you could live together with? His voice was cracked, like he was going to cry any second. I asked him how he met her and who she was, though I did not care at this point. With the way he spoke about it, it would appear my mother has indeed cheated on my father. John met my mother, Joan, again, privacy change, years ago during a business conference. He was a contractor during repairs on the facility the conference was held in, and my mother was there on business. They met, sparks flew, and she cheated on my father, apparently. I don't think John realizes he cheated with my mother. As soon as he was done explaining, I put him to bed with a fake smile, closed myself in the employee bathroom, and I cried. I haven't cried like that in a long time. John told me their relationship ended when she left town after 3 days, but they continued to send letters back and forth for years. He still has them, and they are somewhere in his room. I am heartbroken and drinking heavily tonight. How should I go about this? My mom and dad are well known in the community for their rock solid marriage. This would absolutely kill my father. How do I clear my conscience but not kill my parents' marriage? I think you guys already know what I'm about to say to this. I am not qualified, but I would love to know what you guys would do in this situation. Do you just let it be, pretend it never happened, or do you bring it up to your parents? Next story. Am I the a-hole for charging my friend $800 after she left me 4 hours from home? Oh, I can't even guess what happened, but I'm excited to find out. This story came April 13th, 2026. Becky, 31 female, and I, 31 female, have been best friends for 20 years. In high school, we became close with Ryan and Daniel, and the four of us did everything together. Becky has always been fixated on Ryan. If he liked a girl, she would tear her apart or make passive-aggressive comments until it wasn't comfortable. When he had girlfriends, she would openly criticize them and act like they weren't good enough for him. Eventually, she started doing the same thing to me. She would make comments to downplay my friendship with Ryan or subtly compare us like she wanted to prove that she mattered more. It felt competitive for no reason, but I ignored it for years. Fast forward to Ryan's wedding last month. Becky and I drove together and shared a hotel. The passive-aggressive comments started again. She said I would not even be at the wedding if it was not for her, even saying things like that in front of other people. Later, in the hotel, she complained that Ryan did not spend enough time with her. She actually said, quote, "Sorry to you and Daniel, but he should at least want to spend time with me." After years of this, I snapped and said, "What a weird thing to say out loud." She immediately escalated and said, "Oh, what? You really think that Ryan and I aren't better friends?" And brought up that he asked her to help design the engagement ring. I said, "I don't care who's closer, but it's weird that you care this much. It's not our fault that you're in love with him." She stormed out, and instead of coming back, she drove off and left me stranded 4 hours away and no way to get back. The next morning, I couldn't rent a car because I only had a debit card, so my only option was a same-day flight back to where I live across the country, which cost $800. I sent her an angry text and a Venmo request. She hasn't responded, and we haven't spoken in a month. I'll admit, saying she's in love with him was harsh, and the text I sent after was not my best moment. We're supposed to talk tomorrow. Am I the a-hole? I mean, I don't think she's gonna pay that. I know that's not your question, but absolutely no way is she gonna pay that. There's no way. I mean, I don't think your argument was enough for her to take off, and it wasn't enough for you to charge her. Like, this whole thing shouldn't have happened.
Shouldn't have said that.
The argument was so silly. We could have worked through that, you guys. We have the final update, so we'll see what happened. It came 10 days later. We're now at April 22nd. I wanted to address some common questions and comments first. 4 hours versus across the country. I'm in the US and I flew from the West Coast to the East Coast. We wanted extra time together since we don't see each other often, so I flew into my hometown about 4 hours from the wedding instead of somewhere closer. Next question. Quote, "This sounds like a teenage drama." Totally fair. I think that's part of why I snapped, because it felt like, are we really still doing this at 30? It's also a sign that I should have addressed this sooner. I'm glad we can all agree on that. Rental car issue. I was told I couldn't use a debit card unless I had a license from that state. Otherwise, it had to be a credit card. The reason I don't have a credit card is I had debt in my early 20s, which has been long paid off, but I've avoided credit cards ever since. The situation made me realize that I should probably have one for emergencies. Yeah, anytime I've ever rented a car, you had to have a credit card. They wouldn't allow debit. It had to have a credit card on file. Why not the bus or train? She said, I looked into it, never would have gotten me back in time for my return flight. A train home would have taken almost 3 days and cost about the same. My options were flying out of the closest airport or trying to get back to my original airport 4 hours away. Either way, I needed a same-day flight. Venmo request. I sent it out of anger. I told her later I don't expect her to pay me back. Okay. Now for the update. We had the call and it wasn't productive. I apologize for what I said and that it was below the belt, especially the "in love with Ryan" comment. I acknowledged that it was hurtful and I told her I wouldn't say things like that again. I apologized for the text message and also for the Venmo request. Explained that it came from anger and I made it clear that I don't expect her to pay me back. I explained that her comments have been a long-standing pattern that I never addressed, but I probably should have. When I brought up that she left me stranded, she didn't acknowledge it at all and she became defensive. She started crying and asked if we could just go back to how things were. I told her I didn't think that was possible. After the call, I realized that this isn't something we can come back from. I'm willing to work through it, especially when I have a role in things, but the lack of remorse or even acknowledgement for leaving me stranded made that clear. As many said, this hasn't been a real friendship for a while. It wasn't always like this, but over time, the dynamic shifted in ways that I kept overlooking or brushing off instead of addressing. I think I held on to it because of the history. During the month we didn't talk, I actually felt at peace, which says a lot. I realized that not dealing with her behavior earlier probably contributed to it becoming more explosive than it would have been if I had just addressed it sooner. I appreciate the honest feedback. I'm still sad about letting go of the friendship that I cared about, but I know that I'll be okay. Friendship breakups are worse than real breakups, I swear. The world. Losing a friend is so incredibly painful. It's not fun, but unfortunately, it's a part of life. I honestly think that it could have been resolved, like from the outside perspective, but it seems like there was more to it over the years, like she said, and building up. So you know best if it's time to cut off a friendship, you know? Am I the a-hole for kicking my fiance out of the house that I bought after I found out the brother she wanted on the deed was actually her ex-husband? I have so many questions. I can't wait.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions. Number one, how dare you?
I paid $340,000 cash for the house. Every dollar came from me. My fiance knew this. She was there when I signed the papers. She cried happy tears in the driveway. She picked the paint colors, argued with me about the kitchen tile for 3 weeks, and planted a small garden in the back like she already owned the place. Because as far as we both understood, she would. We were 6 months from the wedding. Then her brother showed up. Here's the thing. In 2 years of being together, she had never once mentioned a brother. Not a single time. No, oh, my brother would love this movie, or my brother used to do that too. Nothing. I knew her parents. I knew her 2 sisters. I knew her college roommate and her work friends and a cousin that she hated. No brother. When she called me one afternoon and said, my brother is in town, can he stay with us for a few days? I was already confused, but I said, fine. People have complicated families. Maybe they were estranged. I didn't want to make it weird. He showed up with, oh my God, he was there? What is happening?
And what is going on?
He showed up with 2 suitcases and a duffel bag. I shook his hand. He had this look on his face like he already knew exactly where everything in the house was. Very comfortable. Too comfortable. He walked into the kitchen and opened the fridge without asking, sat on the couch and picked up the remote. My fiance was smiling the whole time like this was completely normal. That night, she asked if we could talk. She said her brother had fallen on hard times, lost his job, lost his apartment. She said she felt terrible about it and wanted to help him. I said that was fine. He could stay while he got back on his feet. She said, that's so good to hear, and then paused. And I knew the pause meant something was coming that I wasn't going to like. I was also thinking, she said, we could put him on the deed. He's a complete stranger. Like, even if he was a brother, complete stranger to your partner. I just looked at her. He needs stability, she said. If his name is on the house, it would help him get his life together. He could feel like he has something. I said, he doesn't have anything. I bought this house, my money, my name. She said, I know, but we're going to be married. It's going to be our house anyway. I said, when we're married, yes, but we're not married. And even then, adding a third person who I met 4 hours ago to the deed of a property I paid for in full is not something I'm doing. She got quiet. Then she said, I thought you cared about my family. I said, I didn't know this person was your family until today. She went to bed without saying anything else. He stayed. Days turned into a week. She kept bringing it up in different ways, softer, then frustrated, then crying. Each time I said no, she acted like I had personally attacked her. Something felt off about him. He wasn't nervous the way someone staying in a stranger's home usually is. He didn't try to make conversation with me or be polite in the way that guests usually are. He treated the place like he lived there, left dishes in the sink, stayed up watching TV really loud at night, used my gym equipment without asking. Once I I came home and they were sitting very close on the couch. When I walked in, they both shifted at the same time. I started paying attention. I went through her phone one night when she was in the shower. I'm not proud of it, but I did it and I would do it again. Everyone says that when they've found something in the phone that they weren't supposed to find. His contact name was Brother. It was saved under a nickname. One of those small specific nicknames people only use when they're close in a way that isn't family. The messages went back years, long before I was in the picture. They stopped for a while, then started again around the time that she and I got serious. The recent ones were about the house. There was one where she sent him photos of the place after we moved in. He replied saying, "It's perfect." She said, "I know, I'm working on it." I sat in the bathroom for a long time reading. She never had a brother. He was her ex-husband. They had gotten married young, divorced quietly, and apparently never actually let each other go. The plan, as far as I could piece together, was to get his name on the deed and eventually push me out. This should be a movie plot, you guys. Imagine the plot twist of that. Imagine the plot twist at the end of the movie or near the end, of finding out that the brother that was there the whole time is ex-husband and they push him out of the... Someone needs to write this and cast me. Or at the very least, secure a piece of what I had built so that no matter what happened to me, he had something to land on. She had been crying real tears in that driveway. I still believe that, but I think some of those tears were for a house that she was planning to share with somebody else. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I called my lawyer the next morning. Then I came home and I told her I knew who he was. I told her exactly what I had read, and she went white. She started crying immediately, which made me realize she had probably rehearsed some version of this moment in her head, and crying was her default move when a plan collapsed. She said it wasn't what it looked like. I said, "He's your ex-husband. You told me that he was your brother. You spent weeks trying to get him on the deed of my house. What part of that is being misread?" She said that she could explain. I said I didn't want the explanation. I gave her 2 weeks to find somewhere else to go. I told him he had 48 hours. He left without a word. She begged, cried, called my mother, called my friends. One of my friends texted me and said, "Man, she sounds really convincing. Are you sure?" I stopped answering that friend for a while. She moved out on a Tuesday. The ring is in a drawer. I haven't done anything with it yet. I forgot y'all were supposed to get married in like 6 months. I don't want to look at it. Here's what I keep thinking about. She planted a garden in the backyard. Little herb things in little pots. Basil, rosemary, something she said she would use for cooking. She left them behind when she moved out, and I don't know what to do with them. I've been watering them without meaning to. I think the thing that gets me the most is not the ex-husband, it's patience. She was patient about this. She didn't rush. She let me fall completely before she started pulling the thread. That takes a certain kind of cold that I don't think I could have spotted even if I was looking for it. I don't think I'm the a-hole, but I do think I was naive in a way that embarrassed me. So, am I the a-hole for not giving her the benefit of the doubt, or did I read this exactly right? Well, sir, you're gonna need to provide all the messages for me to decipher that, because we're just going off of what you've said you read and put together in a story. I hope you read it right. For your sake, I hope to God you read it right. Or else. But I believe you. I mean, even with the yes, I'm working on it, sending pictures of the house, she never had a brother. Yeah, I mean, I do think it's real, but now your questioning is making me question. We have more stories, but you know the drill, you guys. It's hydration station. You need to drink some water today. Cheers. We all do. You will never know the scream I screamed, okay? When I saw this Hannah Montana t-shirt at Blue Notes in the mall. Are you kidding me? It was $9. And there was another one. I bought both. Next story. My ex-boyfriend is threatening to sue me over a joke I told about him at an open mic. I can't wait to see how that goes. This story came October 31st, 2018. A few years ago, I was in a very abusive relationship. I am not a professional comedian. I don't make money from this. And I have a day job that I'm not looking to quit. This is just a hobby. I go to open mic nights and I tell jokes for fun. It's hard to explain this joke exactly without totally identifying myself, which I don't want to do, but it's a pretty dark story about this effed up thing my ex did to me once. Although it's not a funny situation, the way I tell it is pretty funny and it gets a bit of a laugh. I do not use his name or any identifying info about him at any point. Okay, so this entire thing is so dumb. We live in a very large city. It's not like everyone automatically knows who I'm talking about. I'm not famous or anything. Anyway, an acquaintance of mine recorded me telling this joke and put it on Snapchat, and she apparently also knows him. This acquaintance did not send it to him directly or anything, and didn't even know that he was the person I was talking about, or that he and I knew each other. Total coincidence. He saw it on Snapchat and sent her a lot of messages demanding to know where this was and what else I said about him. She told him the bar that we were at first, but he kept pressing for more details and made her uncomfortable, so she blocked him and let me know what happened and apologized profusely for letting him know what bar. We go there a lot, but she didn't know better. I'm not mad. My ex DM'd me on Twitter, which is the only form of contacting me I didn't have him blocked on, and told me that he was going to sue me for defamation because I am telling lies about him and, quote, committing character assassination. He also sent me a cease and desist letter attached in my DMs as a photo that restated his intent to sue and compensate for the damages done to his reputation. Can he do this? First of all, they are not lies. This is a true story about a horrible thing that actually happened. But more importantly, I did not use his name. Nobody knew it was about him until he freaked out and told someone. What should I do? Also, can I keep telling jokes about him? Girl, nobody knows it's about him. He cannot prove that that joke is about him. I can't believe you're even stressed about this and putting this on Reddit. What do you mean?
What do you mean?
If you're just telling about a story that happened in your life and you're making a joke about it and you didn't mention that, how is this even a question? Unless I'm tripping, which is always a possibility. We have an update, which came 1 month later, November 27th, 2018. I ignored him and I just continued doing what I was doing. Then a few days after I posted, he showed up at the bar while I wasn't there and asked around for me. They said he seemed drunk, which is unfortunate as he allegedly got sober after our breakup, and they told him to F off and called me to warn me. Before I could even react to that, he contacted several people at my work via social media, including one person very high up in upper management who barely even knows who I am. He sent them all the same opener, saying that he was trying to reach out to me and asked for my phone number or email and said that it was urgent. 2 of my colleagues responded to his message that I know of, both saying something to the effect that they wouldn't be able to share my info, but they would let me know that he asked for it. He then began threatening them and warning them about me and telling them very sexually explicit things about me and asking if they were sure I was the type of person they wanted to work with. Okay, so he's a lunatic is what you're saying. I was really trying to avoid asking anyone at work for help, even though I knew they would be nice about it. I didn't want to be the person that drags their drama into the office, but my ex did it for me. So I decided it couldn't hurt at this point to consult with a friendly coworker in law to see what she thinks. She walked me through getting a restraining order and put me in touch with an attorney that practices in this area if I end up needing it. I really hope I don't. Literally 2 days after the TRO was granted and he had been served, he showed up at the bar again, drunk again, and this time I was there. It was honestly really surreal seeing him. They kicked him out, but he loitered outside and refused to leave, and the bartender and all my friends and some random strangers were guarding the door. It was quite the debacle. We called the cops and he was arrested. So I think I'm in the clear for now, although I know he's willing to break the law, so I'm not incredibly comfortable. I put up cameras in my apartment. My friends are walking me out to my car every night. My employer and colleagues are aware and supportive, even though I wish I could have kept this private. I'm doing what I can. There wasn't a huge dramatic ending to all of this, but it seems like it should be over now. Here's hoping. Girl, here is hoping, and I hope you're safe. You have not updated, which could mean one of two things. It went really well, or it went really awful, and I hope you're okay. I mean, we just knew he was cuckoo bonkers from the DM. You know, the second he started, I'm gonna say damages of my reputation. What reputation? What reputation? What are you talking about? No one even knows that this was about you. What a waste of time. Even the story, I'm like, what a waste of time. I don't even like that I read that story about this guy. Like, ugh. We all had to pay attention to his stupid DM. Anyways, it's not that serious, Joss.
I need to calm down.
Let me know your thoughts, you guys. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. I'll see you tomorrow.